As we speak right now, as I speak to you right now, we have a national police reserve in some parts of North Rift. There has never been a time we have withdrawn national police reserves from North Rift or any part of the country. What happens in the security sector all the time is reviews are done from time to time, depending on the needs, what is needed in a particular area. And in most cases, consultations are done, even with the local groups. I have been in meetings with some leaders of the North Rift sometimes, civic leaders and Wananchi, who tell you, reduce the number of guns in the hands of civilians. Let us have police officers to do this work. In some areas, Wananchi themselves and even their political leaders tell you we need a deployment of police reservists. And I can tell you for a fact, if you spoke to the Inspector General of Police, or better still, if you went to the Regional Police Commander in Nakuru, he will tell you we have National Police Reservists in some parts of North Rift. There has never been a time we have withdrawn police officers from a particular part of the country. I mean, we don't provide security because of an individual. We have a constitutional responsibility to protect our people. That's the responsibility of any government. So that is why, to be very honest with you, I frankly don't like spending time commenting on some of these flippant and petty political things, because a lot of people lie all the time. You know, some of them now lie like a career. You know, it's like that's what they went to school to be trained. You saw those lies yesterday. You know, people lying. They lie about anything. They can't tell you anything. Probably the only truth about them is their name. They lie all the time. It's saying things that don't exist. And partly also, by the way, people would do better if they did their job. Because if they attended the meetings they are supposed to attend, if they sought briefs from the people they are supposed to be briefed, they will be briefed effectively, instead of now going to embarrass themselves in that kind of manner where you say things that don't exist. And ask yourself the question, how do police officers, especially senior police officers who are managing the security sector, feel when they see their leader lying about them? You're saying people say it.
No. Did you want to run for president in this election?
I've heard, let me tell you, I've heard and actually I am flattered, you know, when a lot of people ask me why I didn't run for president or why I should run for president. I've had this and I'm sincerely flattered, and I thank those who think that way. But as I said to you, and I think it's good to also respect my views, because I am also an individual human being. This journey continues. It hasn't stopped. I may have defied some of my ambition to be able to do what I am doing right now and to continue to do the things I need to do. But we continue on this journey and on this trajectory, as it were, of public service. Whenever and wherever I am called to serve my country, I always will answer yes, because as I said before, there is nothing more noble than to be asked to serve your country. Whether you are being asked to serve your country as a watchman, as a police officer, as a cabinet minister, or as president. Because many people go through life without getting that particular opportunity. To be called to serve your country is a great thing, and is a very noble thing. That's one of the reasons why, as I said, I'm really grateful to my president for the opportunity that he has given me and the trust he has bestowed. And so as this journey of life continues, I would continue to serve my country, because as long as God gives me breath and as long as I have strength to offer service to my country, to my fellow men, I am going to continue serving my country. I generally believe that the future belongs to the Lord, and the Lord orders our ways and orders our steps, as it were. What we are supposed to do as human beings is, when that call comes and when that opportunity arises, we rise up to the opportunity by the grace of God and do what we are expected to do. As you want, we will not change that position. Na tuwache kudanganyana hapa. Hii ujeuri must come to an end in this country. Sasa unaenda huko, we will not do this kind of silly things that people have done over the years and try to mess up our country. So if you thought that the headline is going to change our mind, now you know. Don't bother. Or if you want, you can go and do another 10 headlines, but we are not importing. I told you earlier that the narrative we need to be discussing about the future of our country is how we handle corruption and how we create an integrity system of managing our country, so that the resources God has given us can benefit our children and our children's children. You know what has happened with this election? And I said it in another meeting, that after the COVID-19 pandemic, now the new pandemic we are dealing with is the pandemic of lies. Yeah. It is the pandemic of lies.
People stand up and they say things that they think make sense. I've been looking at politicians, and fortunately, I have the opportunity of having served in cabinet. I know how a budget is drawn, and I know how much money we have in our resources to draw a budget. When a political leader, a national leader, tells people, I will put aside 150 billion for market women, I'll put aside 50 billion for boda boda, I'll put aside 100 billion for this. I know how much our budget is and the projected growth of our budget. That time you have not talked about the amount of money that you are taking to counties, you have not talked about transfers for the education sector and so on. Where are you going to get that money to provide that kind of service? You're just lying to those people because you are telling them things they want to hear. And because they won't ask you questions, you just get along with it. When you keep saying there's deep state, who is that? And the people are using that phrase and complaining are members of the National Security Council. They hold public offices. They tell you they are powerful people. So who is that? Not this facade and stories that are being coined and being bandied around. Just so that people create excuses and they camouflage around things that don't exist to survive. Or create excuses and pathways of lying and carrying the public along with them. I want to ask you as church ministers, I am your son, and as a public servant, we have a country to serve. Let us not be victims of some of these lies that you keep hearing around. But things that just don't make sense even to a fool. How would you tell people? Yeah. How will you stand up? I'm asking you. Bishop, how will you stand up in public and tell me, who is that? And then you don't even have the courage enough to take a decision and say, okay, because I don't agree with the Attorney General and all these people, I'm not going to be party to you. In the morning, you speak like government. In the afternoon, you speak like opposition. You see, the question, let's be honest. You see, the total annihilation of common sense and betrayal of common sense in the political practice in this country is shocking. When you tell people about there being who is that? What is that deep state? The Inspector General who seated here? We have passed a constitution that requires us, it's in black and white. Even me, if I have to give directions to the Inspector General, the law requires that I put it in writing. And since I became Minister for Interior, I told the nation the other day, I've written 2 such letters, one to Boynet and one to him, to provide policy guidance. And even before I send it, I asked the Attorney General, does it pass muster? The Attorney General says, under the law, you can't do this. So, stop here, let us proceed. Now, how can you turn around